Hello and welcome back to Low Energy Opinions. First things first, this is going to be a very quick one. I didn't plan to make it. I was actually wondering when the next time I was going to make an opinion video. But it's also going to be quick enough, and it's going to be pretty upbeat. Unlike, say, my last one, which was very long but upbeat and got mauled in editing. Fuck that shit. Anyway, I was not really even meant to be awake. I was meant to be fast asleep. And as some of you may know, I keep really weird hours. Like, really weird hours. And I woke up around about 2 o'clock in the morning. So that would be fine normally, except I've got to go out today and there's nothing in the kitchen and there won't be any place open until around about 9, 10 or so. So I'm here twiddling my thumbs looking up at the ceiling thinking, oh, what the fuck am I going to do? Game? Porn? I kill about 5 minutes, 10 if I get really kinky. I could hop onto a live stream and bug people in the chat. You know, the low energy, traditional way. Then I looked over past my alarm clock and saw this. Brian Blessed's Panther in my kitchen. My wild life with animals. Now, you don't need to know who Brian Blessed is. If you don't know who he is, it makes no difference. It's just, he's an actor. And he's a very good actor, in my opinion. And this is barely about that. It's, when relevant, he brings up that. But it's mostly about his life with animals. He's one hell of an animal lover. And he's got the money to make those fantasies about having a house full of a Dr. Dolittle wet dream into a reality. But I bought the book back in January when I was up in Belfast. And it was really just something I'd occasionally read now and again. I have a bit of a history now of buying at least one book on a vacation. So I went and I bought this. I also bought Fight Club, which I have yet to start reading. And I knew when I bought this, it was really unlikely I was going to finish it overnight. I got about 50 pages in, then a week later I got 100 pages in. I mean, there's only about 300 pages less, even. And around about the 150 mark, I just put it on my nightstand over there. And that's where it's been sitting, more or less, occasionally falling to the floor, I'd pick it up, look at Brian with his judgmental eyes, and he'd be saying, "When are you going to read me?" Well, I've just finished it. Because I was like, well, there's nothing better to do right now. I always just hop on a machine. When was the last time I read a book? And that's genuinely what I'm going to be talking about here. When was the last time I read a book? And I think with me reading books, once a year I go into a huge binge of reading. This might be the start of it this year. Besides that, I might occasionally read here, read there. Now, that does not mean audiobooks or lectures, because I always love them. I play, as a lot, I play really, really slow-paced games. Thank you. I guess, don't know if you heard that, but But I end up um, listening to tons of audiobooks, tons of lectures, tons of documentaries while gaming, like strategy games, simulation games. But reading, like just old fashioned, just sitting down and reading, I don't do nearly as much as I used to. It seems to be becoming more and more of a stress each and every year. My Even if I find the topic fascinating, around about Christmas, I read the William Shatner book on Leonard Nimoy, and I found that to be really cool. I already knew a lot of it, but it still kept me hooked. And yet, that was the first time in ages. I used to be able to do that at least to 5 or 6 different books before I had to go like, okay, I'm done with reading for a while. Again, never counting audiobooks, which is odd because it's really the same thing. In fact, with an audiobook, I'm gaming while taking in information. So technically I'm doing more work than just putting Brian's voice as a narration. Bah, is Gordon alive? Not is Gordon alive. Gordon's alive. There. But I think my generation, it's becoming harder for us to read. And younger generations, it's also going to become harder for them to read. It's just the way we take in information these days. Our mindset is just so focused now on getting information so quickly, so fucking quickly, that the idea of sitting down and just reading a book, normal speed, normal pace, spelling out each and every word, it's, I think, for a lot of people becoming harder. And, I could say, oh, well, this is only happening to younger people. But no, it's happening to me. It's clearly happening to me. And it's most likely down to computers. It's most likely down to rapid fire shit. I mean, when I listen to an audiobook, double speed. Sometimes even more. I feel like I'm getting more information in, and I am technically getting more information in. But in a way, I'm just devouring it. I'm not really enjoying it. Every time I pick up a book that I end up finishing, there's about 80%, 90% chance I am outright enjoying it. I am absolutely loving this. But this is almost like a question I want to see in the comments. Do you read as much as you used to? Audiobooks, regular books, comics, lectures, waiting for the movie to come out, none of the above? How do you go about it? Oh, and if you just never read anyway, if you never really cared too much anyway, like, that counts too. Because, you could start finding yourself reading a lot more as you get older. The opposite could happen. But I want to see, like, what's the consensus, if there is one, down in the chat. Well, down in the comments. Because I miss the days when I could just binge a bookshelf's worth. Because I can do that with DVDs. But I can't really do that. Oh, I can definitely do that with, like, documentaries that are like an hour a piece. And there's like 14 of them. I can do that in a day. But with a book, they just sit there gathering dust. And I'm not cool with that. Maybe it's an outdated form of inputting information. And yeah, I'll probably always pick the audiobook these days. It's easier. I can be on the train. Sorry. I can be on the burp. And I can be on the train and have an audiobook playing in my ear while I'm looking out the window. You can't really look out the window when you got the book right up here. But I'd like to see what you guys would say. Like, are you reading more? Are you reading less? Particularly people my age, roughly, or even older. Maybe this is just a generational thing, or maybe it has to do with an age everyone starts feeling after a while. But this is just something I noticed. There's not really much else to it. I'm planning to, once the hotel opens, I'm planning to do a live stream. So around about 9, 10ish, you'll probably see me do a live stream up at the hotel. So I hope you enjoy watching a man eat fatty fried foods, because you're going to see it. Yes, I'm that sort of person now. Jesus, state of my eyes. Anyway,